This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West Podcast with your host, Brandon Cook and Nick Harrington.
Welcome back to the Hockeytown West Podcast, your source for everything Grand Rapids Griffins and Toledo Walleye hockey. I am one of your hosts, Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
It is a miracle I got that off on the first try tonight.
Yeah, I won't tell you what happened with Hockeytown Rundown yesterday.
It was cool to see you got the chance to hop on there while I got stuck working on a Sunday, which is very rare for me, but it was cool to see you hop on there with the boys and have a good chat about our prospects and everything. I heard they had tons of questions for you, and you knew the answers to all of them, right?
Oh, no. I was like, save me, Brandon. They said they were going to take care of me, so I haven't listened to the episode yet, but always a blast to go on with them. And hopefully this is a continued partnership moving forward with us and them, and get us on together a little bit more so for next season. But yeah, always a blast with them. If you haven't heard them or haven't listened, tune in. They always give a little different style than everybody else, and I enjoy that. So
yeah, good people, good show, up and coming, just like us, like just trying to find their way. And they have a harder space to work in than we do. They cover the Red Wings, and there's 100 Red Wings podcasts out there. So standing out in that space is hard. I always love working with them. They're fun people. So outside of that, man, how you doing today?
Oh, rough. I was telling you earlier, I got a crazy headache. So doctor's on Friday. Let's see how that goes. And hopefully it's nothing serious.
Yeah, but please let that not be anything serious. And for me, I'm coming off of whatever sinus BS flu bugs going around Grand Rapids right now. I got knocked out over the weekend, and it was rough, man. So that's why I was shocked I got through our intro in one try. I'm like half awake right now and running off Dayquil. So here we are.
I was prepared to start the episode with we killed off the main character and bring Travis in.
You know, I appreciate Travis being available if we needed him tonight, but his mood would have been a little too good with the Walleye getting the win and getting back in the series tonight, and it would not have reflected the dumpster fire of a game we just watched the Grand Rapids Griffins play. So if you're new here, welcome to the show. These are our post-game recaps. We record them literally right after the Griffins playoff games. We're doing this for the entire playoffs for this team, and we're not joking. It's 10:57 at night. The game just wrapped up about 20 minutes ago. And you get our raw, sometimes uncensored and unhinged thoughts. So with that, let me give you the quick rundown of the game, and we'll dive into our thoughts here. So the Grand Rapids Griffins lose this one 5-2 in Milwaukee tonight. This was game 2, so Milwaukee ties the series at 1 as they come back to Grand Rapids on Wednesday. The scoring, Afanasiev gets it started for Milwaukee. Svechkov does the same thing. Gets another goal there in the first. Milwaukee comes out of this first period up 2-0. Our favorite, Zach LaRoe, gets his 7th goal of the playoffs, gives Milwaukee a 3-0 lead. Then Mark Delgazio gives them a 4-0 lead, gets his 3rd of the playoffs. Should mention that one of the Svechkov goal is a power play goal. The LaRoe goal is a shorthanded goal. We'll get to talking about all that here in a little bit. In the third period, at the 15-minute, 34-second mark, Carter Mazur gives the Griffins some life, ends Askarov shutout run here, gets his 3rd of the playoffs. Nice little goal. It was on the power play, which thank God for that. And then just a few seconds later, Dom Shine gets his 2nd of the playoffs from Hiroshi and Aston Reese, gets the Griffins within 2. We thought, is this really about to happen? Are we really about to do this? And then Jasper Weatherby, our old friend, gets his 1st goal of the playoffs with the empty netter at the end to give Milwaukee the 5-2 win. Yes?
I thought they announced Zach LaRoe got that.
You got the assist on that goal.
Oh, man. Okay.
If you were watching the game, it was clear that he didn't score. I'm kidding.
I thought they said that he scored it. So whoops, my bad. That's unedited.
Oh, you posted it on Twitter that he scored it, didn't you?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep. So raw, unedited. Here we go. So
gives the guy the controls for one night. Oh, I tell you what. In this one, Sebastian Costa stops 21-25 at the other end. Yaroslav Askarov gets his first start of this round, stops 27-29. Grand Rapids does outshoot Milwaukee 29-26. Grand Rapids goes 1 for 5 on the power play. Milwaukee goes 1 for 4. All right, before we get too negative here, let's call out a couple positives, right? I don't like to dive in and just be super negative right away unless it's an absolutely just gut-wrenching experience, which this was close, but there was some highlights we got to talk about. And one was the only reason I said I was good to jump on and record tonight is that Nate Danielson got to start his pro career tonight in Grand Rapids. He was assigned to Grand Rapids this weekend, did the morning skate with the team, his first skate with Grand Rapids this morning, and ends up in the lineup today as the third center. And I thought he played all right. I mean, it's his first pro game. He looked a little skittish at times. Definitely looked like he was just trying to find his way. In my opinion, the wrong time to play him. If this was truly his only skate since his last game in Portland to this game, if he got that first skate in today, that was the wrong decision to make in my eyes. But again, a lot of people will disagree with me on that. But overall, though, he did make some good plays out there. I saw some flashes of good stuff and some stuff that could have turned into more opportunity, and that'll come with better decision making as he gets more comfortable in this league. But overall, I didn't think he put the Griffins in a bad position being on the ice tonight.
Yeah, I mean, all day today, everybody's been blowing up my DMs. Is he playing tonight? Is he playing tonight? And I'm like, you'll know, like, typically an hour before puck drop is when they typically will put out the lineup. And I don't know if Milwaukee did the same thing, but they held all the way up to the last 5 minutes, and they released the goalies first, with Askarov being out against Kosa, and I thought that was kind of surprising. And then then we got Bob's announcement that Nate was coming in today for the third line, with Hirose and Soderblom. So I was surprised to see it. And then to hear that today was his first skate with the team, I'm like, oh boy, all right. So they must have showed something in practice today, but I don't know. I don't like messing with the lineup. If it's working and it's working, and we were on a good streak for a bit with Rockford and now Milwaukee, I think we should have stuck with where we're at. But it also, hindsight's 2020, right? Or is that what they say?
Sure.
Something like that. So, I mean, I thought he played well. He was definitely not up to speed with everybody else. You could tell. And he said too, he hadn't skated since his last game with Portland. So a little bit of travel, trying to get the legs going again. I mean, it was going to take a bit, but definitely some opportunities for him to be able to generate some chances. He played well. He forechecked, he backchecked, he played well. He was on the power play, was able to gain the zone. It didn't take that silly, like, go up to the center ice and drop it back and come in kind of thing that we're used to seeing. So that was new. That was exciting. It was positive, right? So
Yeah.
I think, I mean, he kind of started slow with Portland too when he joined them, and then kind of got hot as the season went through, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
I mean, I would say that, but like in this game, like he started off slow, right? The first period is your first period of pro hockey. You're in a playoff game against the best team in our division, one of the best teams in this league.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be difficult to figure it out. And again, Milwaukee's going to see him on the ice and go, hit him, disrupt him, do something, shake him up, get him uneasy about being on the ice. And they did a good job isolating him. The second period, I started to see him break out of his shell a little more on the defensive side. We definitely saw the defensive side of the 200-foot game he's known so well for. And then in the third, he continued good defensive play, but we started to see the offensive side show up a little bit. There's one play specifically where he takes it coast to coast, essentially, breaks in on the power play, makes a nice little move to get around the Milwaukee defender, but then decides to do a crazy drop pass all the way back to the blue line to Lesperance, who was not expecting it, and he fumbles it, and then they lose possession of the puck. Like in that moment in time, you look back on it, or he'll look back on that in a few weeks and go, I probably should have shot that. And he should have. I think he honestly could have scored there. But at the same time, that's stuff he's going to learn. The decision-making will come as he gets more comfortable. But seeing how he looked in the third period compared to the first, I know in game 3, if he's still in the lineup, we're going to see a much different Nate Danielson than what we saw tonight. So it's very exciting to have him. It's a boost to the lineup I did not expect. I thought this was going to be just like all the other guys who had been sent down here, the Black Aces, who are just rolling with the team, practicing, learning the pro life. But Nate's getting that shot right away. So clearly the organization, one, wants him playing, but two, Dan obviously sees something there that is going to have a positive impact on the team, and even had some power play time tonight, which is good to see.
I mean, I thought he would have played at some point. I just didn't think they'd put him in so soon. Like, I would have liked to have seen him in the press box tonight, kind of with the other guys, getting adjusted, getting his legs under him, learning the system a little bit more. That's what I would have liked to have seen. That way, when he comes into Grand Rapids, when he's got the crowd behind him, because he's the most anticipated player. Like everybody's waiting to see this guy come out there, and so to have him like the home crowd behind him, get him that time, get him the practice time, get him up there in the press box to be able to watch the game and see how everybody goes. Like that's kind of what I was leaning more towards. That's what I was hoping for. But I mean, he played well as the game went on. He definitely played well. It played better as the game went on. So it'll be exciting to see what he does on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. And I'm trying to sneak out of work to go to that game with you. I don't know. I'm kind of on shaky terms with the boss right now. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know what to say to that last part there. We'll see what happens with it, and I hope we do see him in the lineup again on Wednesday. I think in another practice, another game, I think he'll have this system figured out pretty well and know his role. I would like to maybe see him paired up with a couple different players.
Yeah,
I thought the pairing choice was interesting. I don't mind him being with Elmer at all, especially like you got that big body out there that can protect him if he needs to. But Nate's not a small guy by any means. But Hiroshi on the other end, that confused me a little bit. And we'll talk more about him a little later here. But to move on past Nate, because we could probably talk about him for another 20 minutes just because the excitement level that's surrounding this prospect. And obviously, that's all for good reason. Let's talk about some of the other guys who stood out in this game. And one's got to be Marco Kasper. Again, just continues to be a playoff machine. Yes, it doesn't translate to the score sheet, but it translates to the grit and just giving the team life. That's what he goes out there and does. I mean, as soon as Milwaukee went up by 3, he's out there causing chaos, trying to get things going, especially the way that third goal went with Zach LaRue coming in there and taunting Kosa. I hated that. Like that right there should have fired the guys up overall. But again, we'll get to the negative here in a minute. But yeah, Kasper, again, just continues to really impress me. And I would argue so far that he's been one of the best players on this team in the playoffs, if not the best.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was funny because yesterday on the other pod, they were like asking me who the MVP is. I'm like, well, you got to go with Bergie, and I'm like, there was another guy, and I just couldn't remember because it's been such a long time since we played. So, but Marco Kasper again tonight played phenomenal. I mean, it just kept like I kept keeping an eye up on the game, and I was trying to clip on highlights and things like that. But every time I looked up, Marco was doing something again. Like he was the energy guy. He was the momentum guy. He's the guy going out there doing a big hit or getting the puck in the end and getting the shot on, doing little dekes. Like he's going to be so good. And it just being that patience. I mean, you see it in these playoff games. Like he just continues to elevate his game. In each game, he's getting better as they go on. So, I thought he was going to get a goal tonight. He had so many chances, and I thought at one point, like throughout the first 2 periods, I was like, he's gonna start lighting it up here in a second. Like it's just a matter of time, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the line mates. I don't know. But something's got to break for him here soon, and maybe they change it up. Maybe they change him up and put him on the first line for next game.
Yeah, I mean, I could argue that all day. But at the same time, too, he probably would have gotten a goal tonight. But at the 13-minute mark of the third period, he got a 10-minute misconduct. I don't really understand what warranted that. I know things were starting to get a little out of hand. But that one, I don't know. I disagree with that call all day long. Someone's got to prove me wrong on that. So, I don't know. Last guy I wanted to make sure we talked about, second to last guy, Dom Shine. Dude. Just again, showing his leadership on the ice, yet again, going out there, being a pest when he needs to. The refs absolutely saved LaRue from him at one point tonight.
Yeah.
When they were jawing at each other at the face-off circle. Shine wanted to go. LaRue did not. And then LaRue tried to throw a little punch in there, and Shine wasn't having it. So he sent LaRue off, and things were all good to go. But again, Shine, goal tonight, played really well offensively, played great defensively. Truly the guy that runs this penalty kill. No matter what anyone else tells you, he's the guy that leads this penalty kill to the success that they do have. And just overall, again, another unsung hero of the playoffs.
That wind up on the breakaway. I just wish he would have finished that. Oh, man, that would have changed the entire momentum of the game, I feel. Even though I think at that point we are still down 2-3, maybe 3 or 4 nothing. But that wind up, and then it ended up giving, I think, a chance right after that to Marco. But his goal tonight was just sick, just laser to the back corner of the net. I mean, that's not somebody you expect to have a shot like that, to, a goal like that. So, and he stood up for Coast. Like after Costa got tripped by LaRue for a little bit, Shine stepped up and he was like, I'm going to go after you. Like, you don't do that to my goalie. So I appreciated that aspect as well. So, but yeah, Dom Shine, he's been the underrated, like kind of underrated MVP. You see Bergie, you see Marco, and then Dom Shine's right there as an offensive player for MVP too for this team. So good on him.
Yeah, everyone talks about the prospects, but you got to remember that Dom Shine finished 5th in scoring on this team this year in the regular season. So he's very important to this team, and he always will be very important.
And he could have finished higher if he would have finished some of those empty netters.
Oh, man, the empty netters or the breakaways, one of the two. Last guy, Carter Mazur, Golden Knight, had a fantastic game all through. I think he was the best player on the first line tonight. Bergie had some flashes of good stuff tonight, but it wasn't his best game. But Mazur overall was the driving force for that line to get them any opportunities. And ever since we went off on him as nicely as possible after game 2 against Rockford, he's just been rock solid. Again, could argue one of the best players in this team. It's between him and Casper right now, in my opinion, for the 2 best players of these playoffs for the Griffins.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I would put him up that high, but it's always good to get a power play goal on this team. So, for him to get one tonight, break the streak a little bit tonight, and it did churn the momentum for us at that point, because then it just started becoming like, that's when the Griffins kind of like, not only did I wake up in the third period at that point in time, but like they were starting to get a lot more chances. They outshot Milwaukee in that period too, from 11-7. Mazur really started it off, got that goal, and then they kind of found the spots on Askarov at that point. So I want to just kind of see like that line split up a little bit, because like it's so hard for me to tell who is like doing really well. Like, is it Mazur? Is it Bergie? Is it Sarnik? Like, who's really contributing to this line to like really bring him up? And Bergie was super quiet tonight until like the very end, is when he started to get some chances, some opportunities. So I thought Milwaukee did a really good job of shutting him down, but then they left Mazur open. So it was like kind of pick your poison on that line too, which happened. So it's hard for me to find like those bright spots with Mazur as you can, just because it's like, how could he do? Like, I just want to see him with other people, I guess.
Yeah, I really had to peel myself back and look at it, after game 2 and what we criticized. And I got to look at the defensive side of play for that line. Like, we know that people call it into question all the time, Berggren's defensive abilities. And, Zarnik's defensive abilities are questionable sometimes too. So watching what Mazur can do defensively as well to like boost that line, I had to pay more attention to that. And he does a lot. The aggressive side, he quietly does it. He's not Marco Casper sitting there jawing at, after every whistle, but he does do the right things to get people fired up. And as well, too, he's always looking for the right person to pass to. And sometimes that might be the bad thing, where he needs to shoot a little more. But he did have 5 shots on goal tonight, plus that goal. Like, he was trying his heart out tonight. I just wish he could have found the back of the net one more time. One more goal tonight at some point in time would, I think, change the outcome of this game a little bit. Because, you look at this, you look at a 5-2 loss, and yes, there's one empty net goal in there. So 4 goals on Coast. I don't fully blame Coast for this game. I think the first goal that snuck past him, he didn't see it. I don't understand how he didn't see it. But there was also an adjustment on defense in front of him tonight that I don't think he was ready for when he put Josiah Didier and Albert Johansson together. And I think defensively tonight, the team looked bad. Like, the defense tonight was bad. That's the nice way of putting it. Albert and Didier together was... it was horrific. Like, when we do the 11-7 stuff, when we throw Didier in and do 11-7, that's so we can shift him up and down the defense there. We can get really creative, and you can keep the other team on their toes when you're going 11-7. You can be as creative as you want to. When you go 12-6, like we did tonight, and you put Josiah Didier at the top pairing with Albert Johansson, I sit here scratching my head going, what the hell are you doing?
Who do you
Doesn't
want?
make sense.
What would you have rather seen tonight?
2-0.
2-0 with
2-0 with Albert.
Okay,
yep.
And then
because when Simon got called up, that was the pairing. That was the top pairing for the longest time. It makes sense.
And then what? Didier with Vollander?
Didier with whoever was on the third pairing on the left side.
Yep, it was Vollander.
Yep, there you go. And that's who he was paired with in the regular season.
Why do you think they went away from that?
I don't know, because of how well we've all talked about Didier playing in these past few games as the extra defenseman. I don't know. Did we shoot ourselves in the foot giving him too many kudos? Because he was like, listen, we love what Didier brings to the table leadership wise and what he can do for this team. He was awful tonight. He was horrific.
The first goal, I think it was the first one, went off at him. It deflected off of him and in. It was either the first or second. So, I mean, not really Costa's fault, trying to block shots, whatnot. But, I mean, you brought up a good point in the group chat. Like, I would have liked to see the 11-7 and put Vero in. Because, and I forgot to bring this up in the preview, but Vero's played very well against Milwaukee. He's got a goal. He's got a couple assists. He didn't play a whole lot last season, or he didn't play a whole lot this season, but I would like to see him in there. And he does bring that grit. He brings that dog mentality. I think we have a case to put Vero in, especially with Simon being out. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, we didn't even mention that fact yet, that Simon Edvinsson was out of this game. He's day-to-day with an injury. Hopefully we'll be back on Friday or Wednesday. He did not make the trip back to Milwaukee, which I also thought was interesting. The team came back to Grand Rapids from Milwaukee after game 1, then traveled back to Milwaukee for game 2 because of the long gap. I have question marks around that too, but I think that's a discussion for another time.
Do you think that's because they couldn't get any ice time because of the graduation ceremonies?
It's possible that could be a part of it, but I have doubt that you can't find ice time close enough to Milwaukee to make it work. You know what I mean?
Never been.
There's other ice rinks in Wisconsin, I would assume. You're in the Midwest. There's ice rinks all over the place. Hockey's pretty big in the northern Midwest. Like, I don't know. Again, discussion for a different time. But yeah, I don't know, man. You could say you could put Vero into the 11-7 tonight, even with Danielson in the lineup, but then you're like, who are you taking out, right? Who are you taking out? That's the biggest question mark. Yeah, Gettinger that makes sense. But to just go back to it, defensively, they were bad tonight. I mean, defensively, the best player we had on the ice tonight was Šimik again. Like, I really like what he does. He's in the right place at the right time, and he's just defensively calm out there. Everybody else looked scattered. I mean, like we said, the stuff Didier was doing, I don't really understand. Albert did not look like himself tonight, but I think he was trying to clean up for Didier most of the night. And then Vollander at the other end, and
2-0.
And 2-0, thank you, Jesus. They were just quiet tonight. Like, they weren't bad, but they were just quiet. Like, I don't know.
2-0 had one like crazy shot in the one of the periods that he just winded up and shot, and it hit Foudy. It hit Foudy, and he went down for a minute. So he was kind of like the punching bag of the game tonight.
Yeah, he really was. Poor dude he went through one tonight. But I mean, like, Tuomisto, man, like, when he's on the top pairing, he flies, he excels, and as soon as you take his minutes away, you just don't see him anymore. He's invisible, and it's really strange how that works like that. Obviously, you're seeing less of him out there, but like, I don't know, the skill level seems to follow the minutes. I don't know.
I wonder if it's something to pay attention to next year, especially too, because like maybe he falls into that Elmer thing where like the tougher competition, he just kind of raises his game a little bit, and when he's on the third pairing, he's just kind of sheltered. It doesn't really break out, but. It's something to pay attention to, I think. Because you're right. Like, he flies, he takes shots. Like, he's crazy out there when he's up on the top line. And that's why I was kind of surprised. I don't know, not surprised, but you put him there. Because I was thinking maybe Šimik and Johansson on the first pair. Because Šimik plays a lot like Simon.
Šimik plays the same side as Johansson, though.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to not do that. I thought the exact same thing. Don't worry. I had that typed out in our group chat and had to go look at what side he plays primarily. I was like, oh, that's why. So trust me, right there with you. Šimik first pairing with Johansson. If that made sense, it made sense, and I would love to see it. But what I would like to honestly see Šimik do, I think this is a great transition for us right now, so we can really get into what the big red flag is here. Yes, they got one tonight, but the power play is still the worst power play I've ever seen in my life. I'd like to see Šimik run a power play unit. Screw it. Let's try it. Let's get weird. Nothing's working. Nothing we're doing is working, but you know what they're doing? They're not changing anything. The power play still looks the same. You've had 10 days between round 1 and round 2, and what was this break? A 5-day break?
Yeah.
and it still looks the same. It still produces nothing. Like, dude, what? We're 2 for 16 now, I think, in the playoffs.
And we're not even the worst one yet.
This
will surprise you.
Who's the worst?
Syracuse Crunch at 8.7%. Or no, yeah. And they played 7 games. I mean, there's other teams that have played less games that have a less percentage, right? Like Toronto Marlies are at 0%. They had 5 opportunities.
Right.
But they only played 3 games.
Like, I know goals are harder to come by in the playoffs, right? That's obviously a thing. The power play is going to be even harder in the playoffs than it is in the regular season. I get that. But to keep doing this work the perimeter BS that we're doing and not put anyone in front of the net. I saw Elmer go to the front of the net tonight on one of the power plays, and then somebody else slotted in from the bumper, and then he was in the slot suddenly. And I'm like, why the hell is Elmer in the slot? He's quick. He's got quick hands. If the puck lands in his feet, he can get it off, but not from there. If you want someone on the power play who's going to get shots off in the slot, you better start just calling up Riley Sawchuk because he can't miss a dang shot from the slot, apparently. Can't wait to talk about him on Thursday. But, dude, what gives? Like, what's the breaking point here? Like, if on the coaching side of things, and this is a question I want to ask, and it's got to be said publicly, at the end of this season, whenever this season does end, if we continue to struggle like this, and if we struggle like this and we make it to the conference finals against Coachella, we're not getting past Coachella without a good power play. I'm telling you that right now. But if this struggle continues and Steph Julian's still the one running the power play unit on the coaching side, do you want Steph back next year? I say no. Goodbye. You're done. The penalty kill has been decent all season, and it's had moments where it's incredible. Lash has done a fantastic job on that end. Crazy, a defenseman running a power play who's did it his whole career. Like, he's going to be good at coaching it. Whatever Steph Julian's sitting there drawing up on the whiteboard right now, he needs to erase it and come up with something completely brand new. Go watch film, study, and figure it out, because this is insane.
So Dan said in the pregame, I don't know if you heard, but he said it's not a how did he word it verbatim? It was like, it's not a story until it's a story, and we keep winning 5-on-5, and that's what we're going to keep doing. So it doesn't need to be. Yeah, that's what he said.
I missed that.
Yeah, yeah. He said it's not a story until it's a story. We continue to win 5-on-5. So we did work on the power play over the 5-day break, but yeah, we're going to look at a couple different units that he said that he was going to put out there. So Nate was one of the guys that he plugged out there. But yeah, I mean, I was able to just sit and watch the third period during those power plays, and it's literally just back and forth on the blue line. And those two guys were just moving through the bumper and around, and that was it. Like, that was the most movement I saw. Everybody else in the tops were all, I wish I had like a whiteboard, but everybody at the tops were just standing still. And I'm just like, you guys, like, what are we doing here? Like, you have to circle it. You have to cycle it down low. You have to cycle it down low. That's how we're going to be successful there. And we continue to hit the head over the nail with this. And for some reason, nobody on the team listens to us. I don't know, but like, maybe you turn it over and you have Brian Lashoff run both power play and penalty kill next season. Like, because he's done such a good job. He does defense and special teams.
It's not a story until it's a story. You're 2 for 16 in the playoffs, and you gave up a shorthanded goal.
Yeah.
Tonight. Again, it's a story, Dan. And it's a story now.
Yeah. He said he did say that he used those words. It's not a story until it's a story, until we lose or something like that. Or yes, I don't know. I have to go back now. But he said it's not a story till it's something. I can't remember.
Hey Dan, if you happen to catch this late upload on the bus ride back, it's a story. We lost. We gave up a shorty. We went 1 for 5. We're 2 for 16 in the playoffs. It's a freaking story. It's gotta be fixed. We are not. This doesn't get better. We don't make it out of this round. I'm saying it. I know it's tied 1-1. It's a best of 5, though. It's not time to sound the alarm, everyone says, but on the power play side of things, it's time to sound the alarm. This is terrifying. Like, I wish I would have heard that in real time because I probably would have started screaming before the game starts and not midway through.
I'll clip
But,
it.
like,
I'll go back and clip it for you. I'll send it to you late tonight.
don't, because I'm going to hear it later tonight and just get more angry. I just don't understand, dude. Like, we're a pro hockey team in the playoffs, and I've seen better power plays in junior.
Well, yeah, they play fast. They play so loose. It's just running gun. I love it. But so looking at Hershey, then 25 power play opportunities, and they're at 20%. Who else is still in it? We've got
Coachella.
Okay, who else? I don't want to scroll that far
Us.
down. Yep.
Milwaukee, Cleveland, Syracuse.
Cleveland.
That's it.
Syracuse. Cleveland's at 16.7. Syracuse is at 8.7. Milwaukee's at 28. We're at 12.5. Coachella's at 20.
Cleveland leads that Syracuse series 2-0. So
Cleveland does?
Yeah. Like,
and you said, who did Coachella beat?
They just beat Ontario. Yep.
18%. So Coachella was
and
at
Ontario
20.
hadn't lost a playoff game until they lost their first one in this round of Coachella.
And they lost all three. They got swept. I can't believe that series is already over. But and who did Hershey played? Hartford?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. They walked through them.
And Hartford
went for a leisurely stroll.
So I mean, this is not looking good for us if we can't figure out the power play, because I'm looking at these teams that have already advanced, or pretty much already advanced or are up in their division, in their series. I have a higher power play percentage. Now that could have came from the last round, but trends are trends, right? They pretty much stay consistent throughout. And if we're at 12.5, we got to figure this out.
That's what scares me, is because Dan's really good at looking at trends, but to say it's not a story until we lose, or it's a story, like, bro, fix it. I know you can't snap your fingers and fix the power play, but like, you better find a genie's lamp and make a wish. Something. There's too much talent on this team. There's too much scoring talent on this team for the power play to be this shitty.
Yeah.
Like,
it's weird. Like, when we pulled Kosa tonight, like, we had more energy and more momentum than we had the entire time we've been on the power play this year.
Thank you for saying that, because that's literally what I was going to say next. Because somehow 6-on-5, we're the Dallas Stars. Like, we're that good.
I don't get it.
5-on-4, we're trash. I don't. Like, thank God for the penalty kill. Like, if I would have seen Milwaukee go 2 for 4 or 3 for 4 tonight, I'd be screaming right now. Like, listeners would be turning down their volume because I would be this just ridiculous. But this is a problem. And we've talked about it all season. Hell, we talked about it in the preview episode. We talked about it in episodes of Versus Rockford. It's been the storyline. And I know we're not the media, but damn, the storyline's been there, buddy. It's a concern.
My fear with this, though, is that Milwaukee. So there's a couple things with this. It's not just that we can't score on the power play, but it creates momentum. You score with the man advantage. That gives you momentum. That gives you the lead. And we went, I think it was like 3. We had 3 power play opportunities, didn't score, and we were down 3-0. Like, that could turn the tide. Now, if I'm the other team, I'm going to cause penalty. Hey, we don't care. They can't score on it anyways. You know what I mean? Like, that just gives them confidence just to run at our players or do whatever they need to do, because it's not really going to hurt them, right? The other aspect on it is Milwaukee's so good on the penalty kill. They've got 2 shorthanded goals in the playoffs. They've got 1 against Texas. They have 1 against us. And they scored a shorthanded against us in the regular season too. So, I mean, it just gives them confidence when you get a shorthanded goal on us too, because not only are you down a guy, hey, we can do it down a guy, and you guys can't even do it with an extra guy. Like, I know that sounds funky, right? But at the same point, like, it's such a huge momentum swing when you can get that. And we could have got back into the game. And like, I really felt like after that 4th goal, like, we just kind of shut down. Like, we didn't really play. There was no momentum. There was no energy. It was just like, all right, pack it up, boys. Let's try to get this out of the way and get back to GR and win the next 2 games at home. And then we scored, and it just kind of, hey, everybody kind of woke up. Like, if we could have capitalized on any of those power plays earlier in the game, I think we would have saw a different game. Especially like that first period, because we took 3 penalties with interference from Josiah Didier. Redeem had a tripping. Austin Sarnik had a slashing. And Milwaukee had 11 shots to 6 against us.
Redeem didn't take that penalty, though. They were scoring either way because Costa lost an edge on that one. Redeem identified that situation and just took the dude out. And again, if you're going to take a penalty, at least eliminate an opportunity like that. But then Milwaukee turned around and scored on that same power play. So I guess it didn't matter.
I mean, that's 3 straight goals.
The momentum part is so important, though. Like you talked about, like they got that shorthanded goal. They were obviously on the penalty kill already. Leroux took that stupid unsportsmanlike by taunting Kosa afterwards. We had a 5-on-3. And we didn't convert. And you heard that arena erupt.
Oh, yeah.
When Leroux came out there. 4,600 people sounded like a hell of a lot more at that opportunity right there. So momentum, when they're killing the penalties, is going their way. We're never able to establish any momentum at that point on our end because we can't score on the power play. It's got to get better. That's going to be the storyline of the series if we lose it. That's going to be the storyline.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'm tired of
good news, right? I'm tired of thinking about it. I'm going to have nightmares about it now.
I just don't get it. Like, they keep saying they're going to change it, and it's just always been the same thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. The good news is the series now shifts to Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids can close this out at home. They're home Wednesday and Friday. It's tied 1-1. It's a best of 5, so they can close this out. And during the regular season, even though the regular season stats don't really matter when it gets to playoff time, Grand Rapids was 3-1 against Milwaukee at home. So it's going to be huge. We anticipate big crowds. I know Wednesday's a tough one to get everyone out there, but if you haven't yet, hop online, grab your tickets, get down there, be loud, have fun. The environment in Van Andel is going to be crazy, and then we're going to hopefully get to see freaking Nate Danielson on the ice in Van Andel, and I think that's going to be a treat for everybody involved. And hopefully we see a more inspired team and a better power play.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we're 3-1 at home, and what we've traditionally seen with this team is that they're so close that I could probably bet on Wednesday the game ends up being 4-2, 5-2 like, for us, because that's how it's been with Milwaukee all season.
I mean, I will point out the fact that the first series we won the first game, lost the second game.
We're gonna win this one.
Let's hope the trends continue.
I'm hoping we just finish them out on Friday. I'm glad that, like, if we were gonna lose a game, I thought we were gonna lose game 1 for sure. Like, long layoff, that's what it was gonna be. Okay, whatever. And then we win it and we steal it. I'm like, oh, okay, like, here we go. We might be able to win this one and Wednesday. Let's go. And now
I'd have to go back to the preview. I think I had them in 4 and losing game 2. But again, hey,
toot your own horn over there.
I will. You know, the power play wishes it could toot its own horn, but
yeah,
never mind. With that, man, anything else you want to add to this recap here?
So I noticed something kind of weird tonight. So
what was that?
We both we've been talking about trying to figure out where does Nate Danielson fit in, and we kind of had him on the third. We kind of pegged him on the third line with either like Lesby shifting over or Gettinger or Taro being sat and somebody switching around. And instead he comes into the third line anyways, and Ammo comes to the fourth. He's centering that line with Les Bronze and Gettinger. What I noticed tonight was Ammo wasn't taking the faceoffs. Lesby was taking the majority of the faceoffs when they were out there. It was weird. Lesby was taking the faceoffs when that line was out there. And I don't know if it was something, and then they would switch. Ammo would go back to center and Lesby would go back to wing. But it was something that I caught, and I caught this 3 times tonight. 3 different spots tonight, is that Lesby was taking the faceoffs, and I was like, this is weird. One of them I clipped because Ammo turned the puck over and then got it back. If you go back to that highlight, it's in there as Lesby won the faceoff, and then Ammo went to go get it. And
interesting. Now you're saying that, I'm trying to think in my head, and you're right. I did see him take quite a few faceoffs tonight, and I don't think Ammo was getting kicked out of the dot that often.
Nope.
So
Nope, he didn't get kicked out. He did. That's just how they started. So it was odd. I think Nate did get chased out of the face-off. I was trying to keep tabs on that,
He
but
did.
that was hard to. It was hard to do while clipping and trying to get everything.
It's always funny to watch Elmer go in and take a face off just because he's such a massive human being. Oh my god,
it was weird. But that was odd. That was super odd.
That whole line was odd itself. Like that really felt like it was glued together with the cheapest glue possible, hoping that it would work out, and it didn't.
The fourth line or the third?
Fourth.
Yeah.
Like again, if Gettinger's still injured, man, he's got to sit. Like I understand trying to put the best player out there, and we know Gettinger can provide significant offense to this team. But if there's still a lingering injury there that's holding them back at all, he's got to sit. That gives you the opportunity to go 11-7 right there if you take him out and put another defenseman in. He doesn't look like himself. He doesn't look like himself at all out there. And seeing him play on the fourth line when he came into the season as a first liner.
Yeah,
you don't just fall off like that. You're still injured. You still are. And if he's not admitting it to the team and he's holding it back, like, bro, just sit for a couple games.
Can I suggest something unhinged?
Unhinged? Sure. That's what these are about.
What if we take him out and put Matt Luff there? So you got Luff, Ammo, and
okay.
Lesby on the fourth.
I love that.
Or third. They can either or.
That line could either be a disaster, just like this line was tonight, or it could be an absolute ball of energy, and I'm here for that. Sure, if you're not going to go 11-7, do that. But I also want to point out that Milwaukee went 11-7 tonight. So,
they did.
They did.
Oh, I didn't see that.
They saw what we did the first game, and then they did it today. You know, imitation's the sincerest form of flattery. we know that really well. So, yeah, it was interesting to see that. But yeah, anything else outside that? That was a good call out. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just the lineup will be interesting to see on Wednesday. I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make these decisions, but I'd like to see something different throughout. I don't know. I don't know if I'd like the 12-7 or 12-6 or go 11-7. I don't know, but I think something needs to change.
I think we've won every game that we've gone 11-7 in the playoffs.
I think so too.
Like, I understand fitting Nate into the lineup, but there are some guys that you could pick out of the lineup right now who kind of just have been there. Again, it's not a slam at Gettinger's skill level. We know what the skill level he brings. If he's injured, sit, dude. Like, relax, chill. It's fine. We'll be okay. There's some great defensemen back there. Right. There's some great defensemen back there that can jump in and run that 11-7. Like, I want to see Vero in the lineup. I really do. I said it in the group chat. I want the dog to be let loose, man. Let him out there. Because Gettinger, you lose some size, you lose a little bit of grit if you take him out, but you get all that back with Vero coming in.
Oh, yeah.
And the offensive upside, too, if you let Vero a little loose, could be huge. We saw what he did in the playoffs with Toledo. He's a beast in the playoffs. Let him out there. Let's see what happens. Make it fun. Let's get weird.
When you put that in the group chat, I'm like, who put this? Who said this? Because I'm kind of thinking the same, but I was like, oh, dang, it's Brandon. But I don't know. Maybe we're chaos. Maybe we're crazy, but like Vero's had good opportunities against Milwaukee, so it kind of makes sense. And who knows? Maybe he can be you give a guy a bone and he might just chew it, you know? Let's see.
I mean, even outside of that, I hinted at, if you want to take out, if you're going to go 12-6 and you got to take out Didier because whatever that was that happened tonight, but you still want that grit, you put Hunter Johannes back in.
Yeah, I like that.
He showed that he can play at this skill level against these teams in the regular season. He has the grit, and he was so close to scoring so many times. Like, you throw him on that, you do L'Esperance, Lombardi, in Johannes on that fourth line. I'm kind of here for that.
Or switch Elmer and Lesby because Ammo and Elmer have played really well together this year.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
That's
interesting end of episode takes.
Like change, yeah. It's maybe Lombardi and Elmer back together. So,
all right, I see Wednesday. That. Anything else?
Nah, nothing. This game sucked.
It did. It sucked. It was terrible. Just another playoff round, game 2 that we're here whining and complaining. Sorry, folks. I wish we had better news. Toledo did win tonight, so that was better news. So good job to the Fish. But
that was good because I was getting a little nervous after everything this weekend with them. So good for the Fish. Let's keep this going and keep the momentum. They went out of all the games I thought they were going to lose. I thought they were going to lose this one, and this is the one that they won, and they lost the other two. but
it's opposite day down in Toledo for us, I guess.
Like,
who knows? Either way, it worked out. Well, thank you everyone for tuning into this post-game recap of Game 2 of the Central Division Finals. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Shout out to our sponsors, as always, Everything Hockey. Make sure you head over to everythinghockey.com. Use code WEST, save $3 off your order. Shout out to all the people who've been following the Twitter page, the Instagram page, the Facebook page recently. Everything has grown in substantial numbers that we cannot thank you guys enough for the love and support you're showing out there. We hope you enjoy the clips, the content, and everything. And if you want to see more from us, you can always send us a message or leave a comment letting us know what else you want to see. I know everyone wants more player interviews. Trust me, we'll work on that at some point, but you don't get to interview players in the playoffs really often. Yeah. It's pretty hard to pull that off, especially when you're just a tiny podcast like us. But we will have some fun stuff cooking for you guys over the summer and next season, we promise. But again, thank you for the love and support. We appreciate you guys. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your week. We will talk to you guys on Wednesday after Game 3. Hope to see everyone down there. Go Griffs, go Walleye, and we'll talk to you then.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at BrandonGR Hockey.